In this episode of the Tech John, we discussed the Trump administration taking a 10% stake in Intel, Roblox not being that safe for kids, social media's new anti-woke agenda, and the TeaOnHer app is just as bad on security as the T app. We've got all this and more for you in episode 191 of the Tech John from Columbus, Ohio. I'm your host, Robb Dunewood.
And coming out of Philly, it's your girl, Tech Life Steph.
And out of Atlanta, this is Terrance Gaines, a.k.a. Brother Tech, a.k.a. I suppose he don't work here no more, is not a good enough excuse to win a lawsuit. I don't know if y'all referring or paying attention, but Robb's got it in the after party. We're going to talk about Uncle Nearest and them, their problems. So we shall see.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, we're going to say that for later because it's not a tech story, but it is a story. So for those who are wondering, what's the after party? Become a patron. You can find out because we do this show not only as a podcast, but as a live stream. And then after the live stream is over, we hang out for about another half hour and just talk about whatever. And that is called the after party. And you can do that by heading over to thetechjohn.com/Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, we started doing this last week with episode 190. This is episode 191. And we do want to give a few shout outs to some of our founding 50, some of our long-term supporters of the show. So this week we got to shout out Kilowatt, Sean Craig, Jared Shockley, Stephen Ewell, and Bruce Wilson. Once again, these are folks who have been supporting us since the very beginning, since the first few weeks that we've actually had a Patreon. They are some of the first, so we call them the Founding 50. So once again, thank you, folks, and we'll tell you at the end of the show how other people, if you'd like to become a patron, how you can do that and what you get. But let's go ahead and jump into some of these tech stories. First thing we're going to talk about, I don't really know that we should call this a continuation because it's a different company, but it's kind of a continuation of stuff we talked about last week when, who was it, NVIDIA and AMD, they now have to give a 15% VIG to the federal government for every chip they sell to China, which sounds kind of like what bookies do. But this one takes it a whole step further. The Trump administration is in talks to take a 10% stake in Intel. So basically, President Trump is saying, yeah, we want 10% of the company. And the way and the reason and rationale behind this is that there was this, this CHIPS Act that was signed into law by President Biden that gave, I want to say it was like $46 billion to the tech industry. And it was for, going back into the pandemic when we actually had shortages of chips and, supplies and stuff like that, semiconductors, because they were coming from overseas, and it really strapped us. And we said that, that's a threat to national security. So we need to make sure that a lot of this stuff is built here. So what the federal government did was say, hey, we will give you billions of dollars if you build plants here, if you hire people here, if you do all this kind of stuff. So pretty much every company that has the capability to do that said, yeah, we'll go ahead and take this free money from the government to build stuff here with the, with the CHIPS Act, in addition to the ridiculous tax cuts that you're going to give us. But what the Trump administration appears to be doing is saying, so yeah, that money that we gave you, yeah, we kind of want 10% now. And I'm like, is it money that they've already got from the government, or is these proposed grants that they're supposed to get coming up? And Trump is holding it back and saying, if you want these grants, you got to give up 10%. So it is not clear yet. We will have to wait and see. So I don't want to report something that is not news. The thought is that we can turn the money that we've already given you into the payment for the 10% that we want. And in the case, and there actually may have been some clauses in the in the CHIPS Act that may have allowed for this under certain circumstances. So it could be that maybe we've reached a governor point to where maybe this is the criteria that is now happening. But the bigger point to me is that I don't think that any company thought that this was going to happen. It's like, hey, here's this free money, take it from the government, because the government has done these kind of things for the history of the United States. This is not a new thing. What is new is that, yeah, we want 10% of your company now. And it's not new in the sense that it has never happened before, because it has happened before. It's actually happened relatively recently. But this is a new one, because I don't think that Intel was thinking that if we take this money that we may actually be saying that we're going to give up, an equity stake in our company of as much as 10% here in the case of Intel.
Well, obviously this administration, well, I won't say obviously, maybe it may not be obvious. It seems pretty obvious to me that this administration is running sort of like, oh, I don't know, a mafia family or something to that respect. However, in this particular case, to your point, Rob, this has been done before. Back in '08, when all those companies that were too big to fail got their bailout, the government actually did take equity in the stakes that they gave those companies as their bailout. The difference is they exited the stake shortly after the company got out of their financial crisis. So it remains to be seen if that will actually happen here as well. I don't, at this point, with all the other competition, is Intel really a too big to fail kind of company? And that whole concept always kind of put me off anyway, because I'm like, aren't we a capitalist society? Like, if a company fails, shouldn't they just get to fail, and we should just move on, and more competition and other players can come into the space and do a better job? So, like, this is kind of wrong on a lot of sides. But and as much as I do not stand for this administration at all. I don't necessarily know if this is going to be something that we can just blame Trump for steamrolling over this company and trying to do a cash grab. So,
Well, I guess the question is Intel in trouble? I mean, I think the whole too big fail the thing came about because the big financial companies back in 2008, the banks, like was like, we need money, and the auto industry rather was also like, well, we can't operate without capital, and the government was like, all right, well, we'll give you some money for some equity. We got to get some money back for giving you this money, and the dealerships, I mean, the car company was like, all right, cool. They handle their business, wash their hands and going about the business. Why, how is it? How are we relating those to this? Is what I'm trying to get to.
So here's and this is just Rob's analysis. This is what I think on this. I think in the case of Intel is not well. Intel is not doing well right now at all for a chip. According to the CEO of the company, Intel is not doing great. You would think a company like Intel in the AI boom would be doing well. They aren't. They're doing quite bad.
Right.
So it's like, so I think here, them potentially doing a 10% stake may be as much to help that company stay afloat as it is anything else. And I did want to get to that after we got you guys' initial reaction to it, because when you look at an Nvidia ain't giving up 10%. Nvidia is like, we got like $3.5 trillion out back. If you need your money back, we'll write you a check right fast, and we would just go ahead and take these.
Do they?
Nvidia does, yes. AMD, they've got the money. Intel does not.
Right. But they've got it in the sense of market value, and they've got it in the sense of, if we fold, we've got enough money to pay off all our debt. But do they got $3 trillion in the bank sitting somewhere? I always want to clarify when people say you got $1 billion. You ain't got $1 billion. You are worth $1 billion.
That is true.
And that you can use that as leverage. You can use that as capital. You can use it all day long. But when the rubber meet the road and you running out of money, do you got a bunch of money sitting back there somewhere?
No,
but
I would imagine that with Nvidia being the largest company by market cap, I don't know this for a fact. I'm just assuming that if they were told that we want 10% of your company and we're going to base it off of what you got out of the chip, out of the CHIPS Act, number one, it wouldn't be 10% because they are so much bigger than Intel at this point that it wouldn't be 10%. It may not even be 1% with them. But if they were to say that, if the government were to come to them like that, we want equity in your company, I think that they are good enough that's like, no, we good. We're not doing that. If you need the money back, cool. We'll take the money back. The plant is still ours, though. We're still going to do what we do with the plant. I'm sure that their lawyers would go through that. Intel, on the other hand, is not necessarily in a situation where not having this money would be advantageous to them. As I said, they are struggling right now to figure out what Intel is ultimately going to be. They're building this, literally, I say around the corner, because there's probably less than a 10, 12 minute drive from my house is where the Intel super factory is being built. And initially they were breaking ground, and they thought they were going to have to do phase 1 and 2 simultaneously because of how quickly they were going to be doing everything. And then the numbers just kept getting worse and worse for Intel. And now, I mean, the site is still there. If you were to drive past it, you could still see it, but they aren't actively working on it at the rate that they were before, because it's like, we can go ahead and build this factory, but if we build the factory, then we're expected to make chips in the factory. And if we're expected to make chips in the factory, then we're expected to sell those chips to companies. And right now, ain't nobody buying, chips from Intel. And that's what their problem is.
Do we think, though, that because Intel has been, historically a primary driver in so many different machines, that is why they are getting this bailout? Because, I mean, you think about all the computers, all the devices that have Intel processors in them right now, if the company were to go under in a way that would preclude them from being able to support these devices any longer, that could be catastrophic, like legit. So I don't know.
I don't think that is the fear for Intel. Where Intel is not making money is in AI. They have not come up with a chip that companies are buying to use in artificial intelligence. And because artificial intelligence is all that we seem to be able to talk about right now.
Everybody can't be the leader in AI, and I see Terrance shaking his head.
You shaking my head.
Yeah. So
everybody ain't gonna be that leader in that space. Maybe you are just the people that make great chips that go into computers, and you keep that heritage business because you do that thing very well. Like, why are this race, and people are already saying we're on the bubble of this, and everything else. It's just like, maybe that's not your lane, and maybe that's okay.
Clearly right now it is not their lane, but because it is not their lane, and because they're not making the kind of money that Intel, that the Nvidia is making, because they're not making the kind of money that AMD is making, because they're not making the kind of money that ARM is making. There were expectations that they were going to be a player in this space, and things were done. Numbers were set at that level, and they're just not attaining it. So now it's like, so if you're not making money, you're losing money.
Listen, all about shareholder value.
So the interesting thing to me about this was the fact that, wait a minute, AMD, Nvidia, they just got to get 15%. And it's like how quickly we have normalized that the government literally is going to take 15% on an export, which is absolutely illegal, but they're going to use, I think they're going to get away with it. I think that they're going to use language and say, well, we're not
everything. He's been getting away with everything he wants to do this whole time. So there's no reason to believe that this won't happen as well.
So there's that. And there's now, it's like, hey, Intel, you're really not doing that well. So yeah, we still giving you the money that we said we was going to give you, but there's new strings attached to it. We want shares. We want a percentage of the company. And right now, if you look at the money that has been awarded to Intel through the CHIPS Act, and maybe some additional grants that they could potentially get, that could be a 10% stake in the company. So it's just interesting to me. It's like, we moved from a VIG last week, and this week now we're talking about ownership. And isn't that how it works? It's like, here's some money for your business. I don't need anything from it. I just want a nice chair over there. I just want a nice table every time I come in. And now it's like, oh, I need an office now. And it's like, oh, you know what? You are now us.
Sounds like Nvidia need a 6 months rainy day fund, emergency fund, to where if things go wrong, they can Intel, they can dip into that money. But apparently Intel living check to check, just like we are.
It's just like the rest of us, right?
Imagine that. Imagine that.
So this is one of those things to where this actually may be completely legit. It's just that it just doesn't feel right. It's like,
well, in light of everything else that is happening with this administration, I mean, this tracks. But it doesn't make you feel good about the whole thing. So
the market is not terribly happy about it, because Intel stock tanked earlier in the day. I haven't looked at it right before we're recording. We're a few hours after the close of the market. I'd have to go look and see what Intel is, but it wasn't doing good this morning. The news came out that the government is seriously thinking about taking a 10% stake in the company. So I just thought that was interesting, because we think about the federal government is now taking VIGs on stuff that we sell certain places. And now and like I said, this is not a new thing. We have done this before, but it's like, we gave you this money. We it initially had these strings on it. We got some new strings. Now we want 10% of your company. And NVIDIA may not be in a situation to where they can turn that down. It's like,
Intel.
Yeah, I did the same thing you did. Yeah, Intel may not be in a situation where they could say that that's not a good thing for their bottom line. Because like I said, it's like, we're talking about small numbers here. We're talking about $10.9 billion
I
in
mean, at the
grants.
end of the day, everybody involved is going to get paid. In some way, shape, or form. And, our computers will still cost more than we can afford. So
Now,
it's just kind of like.
Now, let me turn my hat around and talk from this side of it, because I think if you've got the federal government that is giving you billions and billions,
it's not going to matter.
and
it's not
billions
gonna
of dollars.
It's not going to, I can tell you right now, it's not going to matter.
I'm just saying, if that's what the government is doing, I think that the people should have something to show for it. I just don't think that that's ever going to trickle down to us. So,
absolutely not.
Yeah, so
absolutely not. The CEO will get a golden parachute.
Shareholders will get buybacks.
Yeah. And that's
They'll split the stock.
And our computers will be twice as much next year. Like, that's it.
Next year. I'm waiting to see what the Christmas prices look
like. Right.
It's like, I'm trying to buy
Holiday.
some stuff that's been sitting on the shelves. I had a whole bunch of family members that graduated high school this year and starting college literally this week. So like laptops and phones and this and that and the other. And it's like, all of that stuff is more expensive now. But I thought this was like just an interesting continuation of last week's story. The government's taking a VIG. Now they want to cut. So.
Mm-hmm.
So, Steph, you stuck this thing in here. When I think of Roblox, I don't think of like CSAM and stuff like that. I think about like just a cool thing the kids are mad about, and they're in there playing and making stuff and learning how to code even. But it doesn't sound like that's what Roblox is all about at this point.
No, Roblox is probably one of the biggest repositories of child sexual abuse material, and a haven for not only predators and pedophiles, but also alt-right folks and supremacists and all that good stuff. So Roblox is coming under fire very recently because it has gotten bad enough that Chris Hansen will be launching an investigation into the Roblox's sort of failure to protect children. And anybody that doesn't know who Chris Hansen is, he had a show on NBC called To Catch a Predator back in the day, where he would, sort of lure pedophiles to a house and be like, hey, have a seat over here, because we about to have a chat with you. Chris Hansen is launching an investigation. There is a influencer gamer user named Schlep that has done a few of these Chris Hansen style tactics and got banned from the platform because of it. Roblox claiming that he's just as bad as them. And I'm like, I think you're going a little too far with that. The Attorney General of Louisiana is suing Roblox currently, and there are going to be literally hundreds of lawsuits and most likely a class action lawsuit as well against Roblox for its failure to protect children. I mean, it's basically a free-for-all. I think people do get lulled into that false sense of security because everything looks blocky and it's very colorful and it looks very Lego-esque and very childlike. But there are games in Roblox like Escape to Epstein Island, Diddy Party, and Public Bathroom Simulator vibe. So these are games that anybody has access to. Roblox recently put some protections in place, but before that, you didn't need to give your real name. You didn't need to give an age. You didn't need to give a phone number, an email. You didn't need to do anything to be on this platform. And, the chat was open by default, so you could be contacted by anybody. So, I want parents that are listening to understand that Roblox is not necessarily a safe space for young people. And you really want to take a look at what they're doing there, how you have the parental control set up, how much screen time you're giving them on this platform and different things like that, because it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. And I'd be curious for you, Terrance, if your son is on that platform.
He's on it, and we got that joint locked down to where all he can do is fumble around, and we make sure we're not necessarily sitting on top of him.
Right.
But, we watch him or actively make sure that he's playing stuff and doing stuff that he's supposed to be doing. And if anything is not, he's got to talk to us and say, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? And we,
Right.
give him the green light, right? It's I can't say we didn't see this coming, because Roblox, again, going back to the past story, Roblox literally probably felt like they were too big to fail.
Right.
And these kids was just running rampant on here. You can tell how popular it is, because not only does my son play Roblox, when we let him watch YouTube, like the YouTube's kids, all it is him watching other people play Roblox, similar to
Right.
Fortnite, similar to Madden, similar to Call of Duty, but think of like, a bunch of kids, not necessarily just men, or not necessarily sports fans, like all kids. You can't catch a kid that don't know or is not actively playing Roblox. So it's like, I don't know if we as a people just let them run, because like Stephanie mentioned, it looked kiddie and it looked harmless. So we people in general kind of let our guards down. But again, I saw this from how all this stuff started unraveling, because the guy, like Stephanie mentioned, Schlepp, who was like actively working like some vigilante style type, actively getting people off the platform who were
And he
actually
got 6 people arrested.
like not on some, oh, you was doing some suspect stuff. No, they was caught,
Right.
and then as a answer, Roblox banned them and said, hey, stop doing this, because when you are rounding up, quote unquote, when you're rounding up this people, you are exposing them to the public. And that's
They should
similar to how
be.
exact. And that, I think that's everybody's answer. It's like, so you are on here trying to lure kids, and you upset, and Roblox is upset because somebody's exposing them. So I think that's how Chris Hansen got involved. I want to assume that that's what motivated Chris Hansen to get on. And now the story is making the rounds, and now people can't ignore it. And now this is what's starting to happen.
Well, and that's why I put this story in there, because I saw Schlepp on TikTok talking about Roblox banned me. They disabled my accounts because I was exposing predators, because apparently he had been approached back when he was a minor, because he looks like he's only about 18, 20 years old, something like that. But he had been approached on Roblox when he was a minor, with somebody sending him, inappropriate content and things like that. So he kind of took all of that energy and put it into, finding these people out and flushing them out and getting them, prosecuted in the way that they deserve to be prosecuted. So it's just like, you can't, I don't know. It's like the argument Roblox is making is that, while seemingly, I'm reading from the blog that they put out, while seemingly well-intentioned, the vigilantes we've banned have taken actions that are both unacceptable and create an unsafe environment for users. Similar to actual predators, they often impersonated minors, actively approached other users, then tried to lead them onto other platforms to have sexually explicit conversations, which is against our terms of use.
No kidding.
Instead of but you haven't banned any of the people that are actually doing this for nefarious purposes,
right?
But you've been able somehow to find this one guy
Because
that's
making
doing
you
it.
look bad.
Yeah, that's doing it for altruistic purposes. You were able to find him and ban him, but you can't find any of the other hundreds, or thousands of people on this platform that are there specifically and for one reason only, and that's to seek out and groom and harm children. So
Ain't that
yeah,
crazy?
I don't know.
Crazy?
I don't know that I've ever even seen an actual game of Roblox being played. This is something that my youngest wasn't into, and my oldest was into Minecraft. Fortnite, I definitely had to pay attention to Fortnite because both of them played that. But could this be this guy is the one that they go after because he ultimately is messing with Roblox money?
Sure. That's always the case.
At the very least, making them look bad because he's doing something that they claim they're doing. And if they ain't doing it, and then some nobody can do it better than y'all. That look bad at the very least. At the very least, it make them look bad. So they're trying to, instead of doing right, instead of partnering with this kid, instead of doing all the things that you would think
Right.
Roblox would do in response to this, they do the opposite.
They do the opposite.
Yeah.
And their stock did fall 6.3% on the news that the Louisiana Attorney General was suing them. But Roblox is massive.
Yeah, it
They
is.
made, hold on, I'm going to tell you how much they made last year.
While you look at it,
They have
I wish-
111.8 million daily active users. 111.8 million daily active users. 36% of whom are under age 13. That's a lot of children. Like a lot of children. And go ahead, because I'm gonna look for how much money they made last year, because
No.
it's insane.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I need Grand Theft Auto to come back, so to get these folks off of Roblox, get them onto something to where they can really be bad. Go be bad over Grand Theft Auto. Leave Roblox alone. You know, since Roblox is so popular, it's got all of these users, so naturally it's going to attract all this other stuff. And unfortunately, our kids are caught in it.
Caught in the middle, and it's such a shame. Roblox stock was up 101% year to date before the dip on the news of the lawsuit. But yeah, their stock doubled this year, so they're making money. They're making plenty of money, and full disclosure, I own some Roblox stock because it was rising, and I bought some like a while ago. I may have to dump it though, because I'm not happy about how they've handled this and what they've tried to do to they're saying they're going to use AI to do some age verification.
No, you're not. No,
they're
you're
gonna
not.
and they're all their human moderators and yada, like they're making they're saying all the right things, but I don't think any of that stuff is actually going to help the platform actually keep kids safe. So to your point, Terrance, I think if parents are going to continue to allow their children on this platform, you got to watch your kids. I mean, it's just as simple as that. You got to watch your kids. You have to understand, and if you don't understand how to go in and set those parental controls, then they don't need to be on there until you learn and until you understand how the games work, how people can interact with your kid on that game. And that's the problem. And I see it all the time. I talk to parents all the time, and they bury their heads in the sand because they're like, I just don't understand all this technology, and it's a lot, and my kid knows and I don't know. And I get it. I promise you I get it, because it is a lot. However, we don't have the luxury anymore to claim ignorance and to claim, oh, the technology is just too hard, or it just moves too fast, or it's just too whatever. We don't have that luxury anymore to look the other way, to hand these kids these phones and just say, go forth and prosper. You know what I mean? These kids are getting caught up in a lot of things, a lot of dark things on the internet. And I don't think it's hyperbole or, too much to say, like, we really need a reset. Yeah. We really need a hard reset on internet access and devices for minors. We really do.
I just looked it up. So Roblox is their 2025 revenue, their fiscal year ended March 31st. So for the 12 months preceding that, it was $3.836 billion. Right. And once again, you said this is off of a platform that is 69% people under the age of 18 years old using it.
36%.
30. I'm sorry, 36.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
That's still a lot.
That's a lot of money to make off people who ain't got no jobs. So, so this is it's a big thing. And to your point about parents have to be, diligent and vigilant, about making sure they know what their kids do. This is a true story. I had, young lady at church came up to me yesterday, and she's like, hey, Mr. Robb, can I, do you know how to get the parental controls turned off on my phone? Because my mother turned them on when I got the phone. Like, she got the phone when she was like 14. Well, she's like a senior in high school about to turn 18 years old. And she's like, Ma, can you turn this off? And her mother forgot how she turned it on. So we had to go and look up the various ways that you could actually turn it on. I think they got it figured out. But it's like, yeah, she had parental controls all the way through her starting the the 12th grade, which she hasn't even technically started yet. It starts Wednesday, but it's like, you know what?
My daughter has screen time, all this stuff turned on her phone. She's 17, going senior high school. When you turn 18, I'll turn it off, and you, if you want, we can talk about your little funky tattoo. But until you turn 18, those are two things I'm holding on to. You get the screen time, because it's still my phone. Now you want to put a little something on the cell bill, or you want to put something on the new phone, we can talk about that. But until then, it ain't coming off until
it's like her mom is like, she is not she uses computers every day, but she's not a computer person. So so I'm the one who knows most about it. I'm the one who's got a podcast where we talk about tech every week. So hey Dunewood, should I be doing this? Should I be allowing the kids to do this, and that, and the other? She at least is asking the question. So so I don't think she ever came to me about the parental controls. That's something that she definitely turned on 4 years ago when she got her daughter the phone. That's what she's like, I've had this on for 4 years. So yeah, mom is like, she makes sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do. And that's how it is supposed to be. It's like they build this stuff into the phone and they make it relatively easy for parents to pay attention, but you've got to pay attention. So that is just my public service announcement.
Yeah.
So y'all, Terrance, you stuck a story in Discord about a week ago about this is the one where it was, I believe it was The Verge. The Verge's Nilay Patel was interviewing the CEO of Substack.
Y'all love y'all some Substack.
And the dude just would not. He would not just say what he should have said. We're not going to allow racism on the platform. He just wouldn't say it. And Nilay is like, you do realize how bad you're looking in this video that we're going to put out in front of Earth, how bad you're looking. But this is something that Substack has had issues with for years now, about that they have cozied up to hate speech. They've cozied up.
I don't think it's cozied up. I think it's more of we want to make sure Substack is open for all these thoughts, all these ideas, and giving people the tools to express and converse and do all the things that we do online, right? The problem with that is eventually you're going to come to a point in time to where you're going to have to draw a hard line in the sand on certain things. And while you don't want to do it, you would assume that hate speech would be one of the things is you could simply say, we don't allow hate speech on our platform. We don't allow it. That seems like the right thing to do. That seems logical. Most people will be like, oh, that makes sense. But for whatever reason, Nilay Patel, who is I guess he's still the head of Verge. I think he is.
Yeah.
He's on Instagram, like Robb said, pressing this dude. I'm not a big Nilay Patel fan, but he was on this dude's ass. And he kept asking him, he was like, well, why can't you just say we don't allow hate speech? And why can't you just say we don't allow for this? And the dude was like, well, this is not the conversation for that. And we want to make sure
you're not going to catch me in a gotcha.
Boy was almost about to say, well, see what had happened was I was expecting that to come out. Well,
I don't know why you was going
I'm being facetious here. I'm being facetious. But yeah, it was like, dude, it's like there's a couple of things here. You had to know that this question was coming. Why weren't you prepared for this?
He didn't.
But see, here's the thing though. They've had this issue for 3 years.
Yes, but they're not expecting journalists to press them on this. They expect journalists to ask the initial question that Nilay normally asks,
and they give a non-answer,
and then they move
on. Mm-hmm.
And Nilay was like, "Nope."
No, he was like, "This affects me personally because I'm brown. So you think people like me should be removed from the country forcibly?"
Yep, and he couldn't do it. And I don't know what kind of effect this is going to have, but I mean, clearly, content moderation is a big thing, and these companies have not and probably will not figure out how to allow people to have open conversations, but not figure out a way to prohibit stuff that is hurtful or harmful.
And that's the thing. And we, I think, need to sort of vote with our dollars, if you will, because I mean, the
Or
same
our data.
way, the same, yeah, or data, exactly. The same way you say, we got the First Amendment and people are like that, but that don't protect you from consequences or whatever. And companies don't have to let you on the platform if you talking reckless or whatever. They also can let you on the platform if you talk like because they can do what they want, because they are paying for this cloud storage and the servers and all the electricity that they need to keep this platform running. They absolutely can do that if they want to. We have to decide that we are not going to patronize companies that do that. And we as a collective and as a community don't ever seem to be able to do that in numbers that
Enough
would
numbers.
that would
Mhm.
either force a change or something else. Now, I don't know how Blue Sky is doing right now. I know they were supposed to be sort of the answer to all of this conversation we're having right now, but we do need to do a better job, I think, if we're going to be outraged about these things, to and you can make the argument like, well, if there's going to be that kind of speech on there, then maybe we should be on there so that we can try to offset some of that, or whatever your justification might be for being on the platform. But at the end of the day, I think hitting them where it hurts is the only thing they understand, and that's in the wallet. So
Mhm.
if Mehdi Hassan and Joy Reid and all those people that flocked to Substack when they lost their television jobs may say, you know what, I don't really like that this dude say this, so let me go ahead and move this to somewhere else. But then where is that somewhere else? Where's
Or
the other platform where you can go and get that same level of functionality,
right.
where you can set up shop and they actually do the moderation that we care about.
Right. Or use the same platform to speak out against these people. And then and then if Joy Reid, I'm not, again, we're just using her example. We're not saying this is her call to action or nothing like that. But if she and all these other journalists spoke out against Substack themselves and the CEO on the Substack
On the
platform,
platform, call them
then
out.
and then we'll
Mhm.
see, same thing with the Roblox story when dude was catching these predators. Then here come Roblox on top of them. Then like for to relay this to Substack, if all these journalists started talking about Substack and the CEO and they stuff start getting shadow banned, or if they reduce it, or they hit them with some company guidelines, now we know what time it is. At the very least, we know what time it is. They run to talk to people who are talking bad about the platform, but then the people who are actually doing the harm, oh, we can't figure it out. Yes, you
Right.
can. You choose
Yes,
not
you
to.
can.
Mhm.
I don't know this for a fact. I just know it to be true. If Mehdi Hassan or Jim Acosta or Joanne Reed, if they did something that in any way violates Substack's policy and Substack thinks that, oh, this is going to cost us money, I promise you, in milliseconds, they will be
Gone.
deplatformed off of that.
Gone.
I guarantee it.
And the
So,
only problem with, your take on it, Terrence, is that even if they do stay on the platform to call them out, that's still
Mhm.
putting money in Substack's pocket.
Sure.
mhm.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
So it's
you're
just
right.
like
You're
we
right. You're
gotta
right.
I
Yeah.
don't know what the answer is, but
Right.
all I know is cash rules everything around me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the only way that people listen is when you hit them in the wallet. And so we really
Yeah.
have to start figuring out how to move off of these platforms
Off.
and
Man.
yes, get your website set up. I'll come support your website, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
and do whatever. Like I don't know what that looks like, but we got to
Yeah.
stop giving these people oxygen,
I wanted
honestly.
I wanted to expand this beyond the Substack story because this other story here is where Meta has now hired the anti-diversity activist Robbie Starbuck as an advisor to settle a lawsuit. And Starbuck is he's pressured companies into axing DEI policies, and he's addressing all of the ideological and political bias of these AI systems. So this dude basically sued Meta because Meta said something that probably shouldn't have said. They came after him for he came after them for a bunch of money, and now
Well,
all of a sudden it's
he's
part of
suing them because the AI, Meta's AI, made a
yeah,
claim that he was part of the January 6th insurrection.
which he wasn't. So, but this seems like it's part of the lawsuit, and it's like, so this is what y'all doing now. It's like this is where we are. So the question for me is that it is like we can't target every company. Because it literally is every company.
Because it's literally
Because
every
it's
company.
literally every company. So if you say, like I'll give you an example. I have made a conscious decision. I think, Steph, you have made this as well. I will never own a Tesla. I'm not doing Starlink. As long as Elon Musk is associated with these companies, I'm good. I'm not doing it. But you can't do that with every single company. So if
Right.
you say, well, I don't want to be on the biggest social network on I'm not going to deal with Meta because like Meta's got a whole bunch of crazy stuff that's going on with them. One of the other stories that we potentially might get to is just what they are doing and allowing their AI to have crazy conversations with children, which is bad. But if you say, you know what, Meta, I can't get down with you, then where do you go? I've already gotten off X.
Right.
If I get off Meta, getting off Meta doesn't mean just getting off of Facebook. It means that you're getting off of Facebook. You're getting off of Instagram. You're getting off of Threads. You're getting off of all the advertising that you can run through that if you're a small
You're
business
getting
owner.
off of WhatsApp.
You're getting off of WhatsApp, which WhatsApp is the biggest messaging platform on the planet. WhatsApp gets more SMS messages than SMS messages get. It's ginormous. So when you're making that decision, I'm not going to deal with them. Then you're for, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to be over here rocking with Blue Sky, and then Blue Sky does something that you don't like. Okay, well, I'm not on Blue Sky anymore. Now I'm going to be working over here on fan base. And then if
and then
Isaac
Isaac
Hayes III
Hayes
says something that you don't
reckless.
like, okay, man, I can't deal with that. Now I got to go over here to this app and to this app. So what
it's crazy.
So what do we do when we've got these platforms
to-
that are antithetical to our well-being as Black and brown folks?
We go outside and touch some grass. That's what
Man.
we do. You know what I mean? You're allowed to put the phone down.
Yeah.
You are. I mean, now as a, if you're a content creator, this is your business, this is how you're making your money. It's probably not going to be that simple, but for the rest of us, the large, vast majority of us, you're allowed to just put your phone down for a little bit and just, log off for a bit. It's fine. Nothing's going to happen. The world will not stop spinning. The thing that, and I'm going off on a tangent here. This particular story, this whole Robbie Starbuck thing. First of all, Robbie's like, come on, man. Number one, they didn't disclose how much they paid him because I know they probably, I was wondering why they didn't just throw a bunch of money at this problem to make him go away as opposed to bringing him on. Because I know there would have been a number that could have made him go away. You know what I mean? Like everybody has a number and I know there was a number that would have made him go away. So I'm not sure why they just didn't pay that to make him go away. The other thing I was wondering is, since AI is trained on, all of the stuff that comes off of the internet, which is literally all basically user generated content.
Which is crazy how they're making all these money. But
right.
Continue.
But why didn't Section 230 cover them in this instance? Because his specific gripe was that the AI mistakenly said that he was in part of January 6th. Why couldn't they have made the argument that we're not responsible for that because this is based off of user-generated content that the AI gets from the large language models that scrape the internet. So I don't know. That was for like Section 230 was the first thing that came to mind when I saw this story, and I was just like, why wouldn't that apply? And why couldn't a good attorney make it apply? Like y'all got the best attorneys in the world. Like y'all couldn't finesse this a little bit to get this boy off y'all back. It sounds more like they wanted him in there.
There's that, but I want to ask the question. So if I were to say as a user of Facebook that Terrance is an ABC and ABCs do XYZ and those things are not true. I said that on their platform. Facebook didn't say it. I said it. So Section 230 covers Facebook because they didn't make that statement. I made the statement. They didn't necessarily know that it was wrong at the time, so it was on their platform. But when you're talking about AI, no one said this. It wasn't like a person said it. This is a derivative work that Facebook created. So I'm just wondering, does Section 230 not cover Facebook because the content was not something that a user created? It was something that your AI created, even though it may have been derivative of things that it pulled off the internet. That's not the internet's fault. it's Facebook's fault because your AI got this wrong. So I don't know that to be the
get
case.
it.
I'm just wondering.
No,
if that's how that
I
works.
thought about that, but I felt like there, a good attorney could have finessed it a little some kind of way to kind of. I'm like,
or, and I think Terrance, this is where you was going to go. Or could it be Trump administration loves Robbie Starbuck? Get him up in there, makes us happy.
And that's all.
Could it be that?
Honestly, I feel like that was the thing. I feel like somebody wanted him in there, and this was the Trojan horse, basically, that they used to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, I am not one of those people that will say I'm not on X and you shouldn't be either. That's not my business. If you want to be on there, you be on there. And I know a lot of folks who are on there that because it's part of their business model. They for their business, that's where it makes sense for them to be. So I've never been that person. But I do start to wonder. It's like, okay, if I'm not going to do any of this and I'm not going to do any of that, am I just going to be a hermit in a cave with a campfire, and maybe some chocolate and some marshmallows making
read a book
and just can't be on the internet anymore because everybody on the internet is bad.
If that's what helps you sleep at night.
Yeah. So
listen, read a book. Read a book, read a book, read a book.
Yeah. So, y'all, we gonna wrap the show up with this last story here about I didn't even know this was a thing until literally today or yesterday when I first saw this story. But there's an app called TeaOnHer. So y'all remember the T app? That was the app that was supposed to help women protect themselves from dating. They could put information about dates and stuff like that on the app and make, let a sister know that, hey, you might want to watch out for this dude, that kind of stuff. And they were just loose and fast with their security. And ultimately millions of people ended up getting doxxed. Well, the fellas thought, well, you know what? If the women have a TeaOnHer app, we need to have a TeaOnHer app, and they went and built this thing.
It's just real quick. It's actually called TeaOnHer. I made a mistake in the notes in the show notes. But it's called TeaOnHer.
TeaOnHer. But did they learn nothing? Did they learn nothing, no. Steph?
Clearly,
did they learn nothing because they used the same stuff.
It wasn't a learning thing. They just wanted to
revenge.
Shame.
They just wanted revenge.
Right. They wasn't trying to learn.
The male loneliness epidemic is not widespread enough. Seriously. Knuckleheads. So TechCrunch said reporters cracked into sensitive information in minutes thanks to an admin panel so wide open it didn't even ask for a login. On August 14th, one ex-user weighed in on how hackers broke in, writing, TeaOnHer, the app meant to combat the infamous T app, is also a giant dumpster fire. It has been compromised. The developer made his password to the admin panel password 1 exclamation point. It was stored in plain text on the landing page. What the fuck? That was the quote from the tweet. I'm like, come on.
Oh my goodness.
Come on, man.
It's almost, if you're doing that, it's almost like you want to be hacked to get in the news. It's like, is this one of those things where like all news is good news?
Nope. It was, we need to hurry up, get this app put together to shame these women.
And to try to, and I don't even know if there was a monetization strategy behind it, but it was just pettiness. Pettiness and bitterness and revenge.
When you do that, security and data protections
go out
is
the
not
window. They didn't even care.
Concern.
Right.
The main concern is how fast can we shame these women? Let's just do it.
Right. Instead of being better men, let's go make a app to shame these women. Like, come on, man. It's like, that's what y'all get. And honestly, I'm not even going front. That's what the women got. Y'all got what y'all had coming too. Like, just for and granted, the initial purpose of the T app was for safety, was supposed to be for safety. So you can run a background check, you know who you're dealing with, maybe see somebody that says, hey, this dude is an abuser, whatever that looks like. Right. There are legitimate reasons women need an app like the one they have. Now, granted, it devolved into some bullshit, but there was a legitimate reason for that app to exist in the first place. The men just wanted to be petty, and y'all got what y'all got. When you do stuff, for the wrong reason, karma's a bitch.
So here's the thing. I don't know how this app was developed. Maybe they vibe coded it over a weekend. I don't know what the case was.
Right.
But at some point, do you say to your AI, so hey, is password 1? Is that a good password? At some point, you got to ask the question. Because if you don't know, I guess you don't know. But it's like, seriously, password 1 exclamation point is the password. I would imagine it probably took less than 10 seconds for that password to be hacked, because these are the first like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 is probably the first one's going to be tried. Then the word password, and then pat ass word with with dollar signs instead of s's. Password 1 exclamation point probably is in the first couple thousand passwords to get tested.
Not even that.
Yeah, it's
the couple hundred. The first couple hundred
probably is. So it's just like, seriously, bro, this what y'all doing now? So I just thought when we stuck that in there,
y'all got what y'all had.
They can't be serious. It's like the password was password 1 exclamation point.
Y'all went looking for that smoke and it found you.
Yeah. Well, folks, we did not have a new patron this week. We did have one last week, I think, that we shouted out, but we didn't have one this week. But I do want to let everyone know we talked about our founding 50 patrons at the top of the show. But Patreon is one of the ways that you are able to support the show, heading over to patreon.com/thetechjohn or thetechjohn.com/Patreon. Either one of those links works. And we've got multiple tiers over there, any one of which gets you access to our show and our live stream. I also want to let folks know that, hey, we're entering into the fall. I went for my walk this morning. It was only 61 degrees. Like, it's a little chilly for shorts and a t-shirt, but we're soon to get into hoodie season. So for anyone who's looking for any hoodies or the long sleeve t-shirts or anything like that, we've got some new merch over there on the Tech John store. Head over to thetechjohn.com/shop and you will find all kind of swag. And like I said, we've got some new hoodies and some of those baseball style t-shirts that are like the 3/4 length shirts that are a little bit thicker because it's getting a little bit cooler. Anything that you do to support the show goes a long way to help us bring this tech to you the way that we bring it to you. And we appreciate all of those who have supported the show, either through our shop or through our Patreon. So with that being said, Tech Life Steph, tell folks how they can get at you.
You can follow me all around the web at Tech Life Steph, or head to my website at stephaniehumphrey.com. Sign up for the newsletter.
And you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BRTHO. Yeah, BRTH. Yeah, I'm missing all.
BROTHA.
Jesus Christmas.
Name is done for 15 years, man.
GROTHATECH.
And I am at Robb Dunewood on all the things. And we're also at the Tech John, the Tech JAWN on all things. So come holla at us however you holler. Until we meet again in a week's time. Peace.